How you doing today, guys? Welcome back to another day of 7th grade math. This is Mr. Gomez, your favorite teacher in the whole world. And today we are actually reviewing in class area of composite figures. We have talked about this on a previous class and a previous video before. You can check the playlist on area of composite figures or just area playlist, and you'll find some more videos in there. Before we start, I would like to go ahead and invite you to subscribe to this channel. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and hit the notification bell on so you don't miss any future content. Like this video and share with somebody who might need this information. Again, please go ahead and subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. And also, if you haven't seen my other channel, MTB Alex, I'll leave a link for you up here on the card. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, area of composite figures. As the name says, we're going to find the area of irregular shapes. That's going to be shapes composed of more than one figure. So you can have like a rectangle and triangles mixed, and circles, semicircles. Remember, if you're talking about a semicircle, you're talking about a half a circle. So if you're given something like that, if you need to find the area of a half a circle, you first need to find the area of a regular circle and then divide it by 2. In this sample, we're going to have a few like that. Plus, we are also going to have quarter of the circles. Now, if you have a quarter, like let's say you have a pizza, you divide it into 4 sections. You eat one of those sections. How much area do you eat? Basically, you got to find the area for the whole pizza and then divide it by 4 because that's what they're asking you for. So forth, so on. Now, before we start, I want to go ahead and show you the reference chart again. And here we go. We're going to be focusing only on area. Only on area, right there. We have triangles, rectangles, or parallelograms. Remember, the parallelogram is a twisted rectangle, right? It still has 4 sides, so it's just a little bit tilted. They have trapezoids. Now, this is one that we don't do a lot. Trapezoid. So basically you have 2 bases, one on the top and one on the bottom. A trapezoid looks like this. This is going to be base 1, this is going to be base 2, and then you're going to have the height right there. And that's all the information you need for a trapezoid. So basically you're going to add the top and the bottom. Whatever you get, you're going to multiply it by the height, and once you find that, you divide it by 2, and that's going to be the area for the trapezoid. And of course, we have circles, pi times radius square, or pi times radius. Remember, if it's a semicircle, don't forget to divide by 2. Because I can assure you, if it's a multiple choice questions and you don't divide by 2, they're going to give you one of the answer choices as if you would have put in the area for the whole circle. And you're going to get it wrong. So make sure you pay attention to those little details. Let's go back to the assignment. All right, again, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and consider doing so. I'm going to be working on the pink ones. I'm going to do 6 samples, and my class is going to be working on similar ones on the green samples. So, number 1 on page 1. It says, a field is surrounded by a track. Usually, you have track and field. You have track on the outside and a field. This is real live sample. In the middle, you either have a soccer field or a football field. And it says, what is the total area of the field to the nearest square yard? So we might need to be rounding in this one. So we're only looking at the field. We don't need the outside. We do not need the outside. So we're only looking at this right here. Sorry. We're only looking for the inside. We don't care about the outside. Now that shape is kind of like an extended oval, right? Because it has straight, so you're gonna have to break these figures into different shapes in order to find the correct area. So in this one, I can clearly see that I have a rectangle. Can everybody see that? Easy, right? Now on the sides, I have like a semicircle, correct? And on the other side, I also have a semicircle. Now, whenever you have something like this, 2 semicircles, and they're the same lengths and everything, you don't need to do it twice. Because if you take away the rectangle and you close it, you're going to have a full circle, right? So you don't need to divide by 2 in this case. Let me show you. Now, in this one, They don't give us any measurements for the actual track. We don't know how wide that is, so we don't care about that one in this case. If they would have given us measurements from here to here and from here to here, then we would have to subtract this whatever number that was. In this case, we don't need that, but you are going to need to know that for question number 2, which you will have to do. So in this case, I know that my rectangle, so I'm going to find the area of a rectangle, that's just base times height, and my base is 100, my height is 50. 100 times 5 is 500, add a 0, so the area for this is 5,000. And I like to make the big number inside for the area. So the area for the rectangle is 5,000. Now I'm going to have to find the area for the circle. The area for the circle, that is pi r squared, or pi times radius. Correct? So pi is always the same, is 3.14. Now if I look at this right here, this measure is how much? That measures, the measure for that is 50 yards. But is that my radius or diameter? Remember, if you have the circle, and this is 50, is that my radius or diameter? That's going to be the diameter. So I need the radius. So the radius is the diameter divided by 2. So in this case, it's going to be 25. And that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to use, instead of radius, I'm going to do 25 times 25. So I'm just have to multiply 25. I like to multiply my whole numbers together first. 25 times 25. And that's going to give me 625. Left is to multiply by 3.14. And that gives me the area of the circle. The whole circle, remember, because this is half. And this is half, and 2 halves make a whole, right? The area for the whole thing is going to be 1,962.5 yards. These are yards. Squared. Remember, when we talk about area, this is square. And all we have to do now is what? Combine the area. How do we combine it? We add this and this, add them up, and you get 6,962.5. So it's going to be 6,962.5. What does that say? Nearest whole square yard. So my answer has to be what? C. Any questions so far? Easy, right? Number 2 is very similar. However, you have to take into consideration the width of the track, or the deck in this case. So you're going to have to find the actual numbers for the inside, because you're looking for the area of the pool only. And number 2, you have to find the closest to the area. It's not going to give you the actual answer. The actual answer is not on the answer choices, so pick the one that is closer to that. All right, number 4. So it says, what is the area of the figure shown below? So right now we have a composite figures, and the first thing that you need to do is actually break it down into different shapes. Okay, so what I can see right here, I can probably break this down into a rectangle right here. Then I can probably make another rectangle right there. And then this will be a triangle, right? Now that's not hard. What is going to be a little bit hard sometimes is to find the missing length. So if I look at the blue one, the rectangle, I'm just going to find the area for a rectangle. Again, look at the reference chart. This is going to be base times height, which in this case is 8 by 6. So this is just 48. All you got to do is multiply the two sides for a rectangle, parallelogram, or square. Now, what comes interesting now is let's look at the pink rectangle. I know the area is going to be the same one, base times height. I know what number is going to be 2, but I'm looking for this right here. I don't know what that is, but I can make conclusions, okay, using what I know. So I know that from here to here is 12, correct? And I know that from here to here is 6. So that means that from here, this line extends all the way up to here, right? So to find that missing length, all I have to do is what? 12 minus 6, which gives me 6. So that means that this right here is going to be 6 centimeters. Right? Easy so far? So now, this is a 6. 6 by 2, which is 12. Write it big inside. Boom, you're done right there. Now for the triangle, this is another one that we need to find the missing lengths. Well, right here, let's look at this section right there. I don't know what that is, right? But I know that this thing right here is 6 and is the same distance as this one right there. So this must be 6, right? Now for the height, how tall is that right here? I don't know, but I can find it as well, because I know that from here to here is 8, and I know that this is 2. So if I subtract 8 minus 2 gives me 6, correct? So to find the area of the triangle, the formula is base times height divided by 2. In this case, it's 6 times 6 divided by 2, which is 18 at the end. And all you have to do now is add the 3 numbers up. 48 plus 18 plus 12 gives me 78, and that is my total area. Again, breaking it down and finding the missing values. That's the hardest part. Finding the missing values. This one wasn't too bad. This will help you with number 3 as well. Number 3 on page 2, you can break down into 2 rectangles and a triangle. Now number 1 on page 2, that's one of the ones that you have to do. It says a quarter of a circle, and I talked about it a little bit ago. Again, you are only looking for the quarter of a circle. However, the only number that it gives you right there is the 20. And you have to decide if that 20 is going to be the radius or the diameter, because if you pick the wrong one, you're going to get the whole thing wrong. Is it the radius or the diameter? And then work from there. And remember, if you find the area for the whole circle, you only have a quarter of it. So there's an extra step that you have to take afterwards. Quarter of a circle means 1/4, or divide by 4. Don't forget that. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 says Justin made, this is very similar to the last one that we just did, number 4 on page 1. Justin made a large kite consisting of 1 parallelogram and 2 identical triangles. So we have 1 parallelogram and 2 identical triangles. What does "and" mean? To add, right? That's another keyword right there. So I know that this triangle is going to be identical to the one at the bottom. Do I need to find the area twice? I wouldn't. If they're identical, if one area is 20, the other one is going to be 20, right? So there's no need, only find it for once. Now the other shape that I have is this parallelogram. Remember, the formula for a parallelogram is the same as a rectangle. Area for a parallelogram is base times height. So in this case, it's going to be 3 times 4, which is 12. Right there. Now for my triangle, this is where you got to remember that the area equals base times height divided by 2. And if I look at the triangle, I see that the bottom is 4. My height is 2 divided by 2. So this will give me 8. 4 times 2 is 8 divided by 2. So the area for the triangle is going to be 4. If that one is 4, that means that the bottom one also has to be 4. Now, I can just add all the big numbers. 12 plus 4 plus 4. And that's going to give me what? 20, which is B. Boom, you're done. If you don't divide by half over there, it's going to give you one of those other answers right there. Make sure you always divide by half. Any questions so far? This is very similar to page 3, question number 1. Okay, let's see, number 4 on page 2. Number 4 on page 2, it says a square is attached to a semicircle to make the figure shown below in the diagram. If the radius of the semicircle is 4 meters, what is the approximate area of the figure? So they're telling me that, let's say if I had a full circle, they gave me the radius. That means the radius is the line from the middle to the edge. This is 4 meters. Right? And that's all they're telling me. They didn't put any numbers or anything on the circle, or the semicircle, or the square. That's all they gave me. Now, if my radius is 4, can I find my diameter? If my radius is 4, what's my diameter? My radius is 4, what is my diameter? If the radius is 4, what is my diameter? 8. It's double that, right? So this is the radius. So that means the diameter equals 8. Now let's look at this. That's why I like to draw things on the side. Does that look like that now? Yes, right? So can I put any of those numbers back into the original shape? What number would I put in there? The 4 or the 8? The 8. The 8 goes right here. Now, if it's a square, what are the other sides for the square? If one of the sides of the square is 8, what is the other sides? What are the other sides? 8. This is also 8, 8, 8. So for the square, it's very simple. Area of the square is base times height, which is 8 times 8, which is 64, right? That's for the square. Am I done? No. So I know it has to be more than 64. So A is not going to be my answer. Now, I have to take care of my half a circle right here. And I know the radius is 4. The formula for the area of the whole circle is pi r squared, or pi times radius times radius. The radius is 4 meters, so it's 3.14 times 4 times 4. When you multiply those two, you get 16 times 3.14. And when you multiply those two, you get how much? 50.24. Now this right here is the area for the whole circle. Do I have the whole circle? What? So what do I have to do? Have the area. That means I have to divide this by 2, right? And when I do that, I get 25.12. So this right here is 25.12. Agreed? So how do I find the total area? I gotta add this and this. Let's think about it before setting everything up. 65 plus 25 is 65 plus 25. I'm just estimating. 90. So it seems like my answer is not going to be 66. It's not going to be that. It's actually going to be 89.12. When you add 64 plus 25.12, you get, yes sir? You can estimate, but that's just to do it faster. You can always do the addition like I'm doing right here, and this is going to give you the exact answer. Any questions so far? If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Let me tell you something about question number 2 on page 1. Question number 2 on page 1. The exact answer is not going to be there. You're going to have to pick the closest one to the exact answer. That's why it says approximate. Okay? Let's move on. This is not going to help you with the rest of the problems. Let's look at number 1. You have a trapezoid right here. I'm not going to do that one for you. But you have a formula. Base 1 plus base 2, you add them up. So you add the base on the bottom, the base on the top, and then you're going to multiply by the height. After that, you divide by 2. So base 1 is going to be 6. Base 2 is going to be 10. That's 16. You multiply by the height, which is 4. That's 16 times 4, then divide by 2. That's going to give you the area for the trapezoid. I'm not going to do that one for you. You can do it on your own. Number 2 on page 3. Number 2, page 3. It says the area of the shape below is 84 centimeters square. What is the length of A? What is the length of A? So I'm actually have to work in back. Actually gonna have to work this backwards. What is the length of A? I'm looking for A. I know that the area of the whole thing is 84 square centimeters. So the total area equals 84 centimeters square. So the first thing, I'm going to break this into 2 shapes right there. That's one rectangle and the other one looks like a square. So I can probably see if it's a square, 6, 10 minus 6, that's going to be 4. So I think the area might be C. I'm not going to select C yet because it might not be. But I think it might be C. Let's find out. Again, for a rectangle, area equals base times height. In this case, we have 6 times 12, which is 72. So if I know the total area and the area of this rectangle right there, I can also find the area for this thing right here, the blue one. How, mister? Easy. You subtract it, right? The leftover is going to be the blue one. So when you subtract that, you get 12. Right there. So the area for that is 12, but I'm not looking for the area. I'm looking for the length of that side, A. I can easily find this from here to here is 10. From here to here is 6. So that means that from here to here must be 4, right? 10 minus 6. Now, to find the area, the length, all I gotta do is a number multiplied by 4 that gives me 12. What number is that gonna be? If the formula is base times height, or 4 times A equals the area, 4 times A equals 12. That's the 12 right there. You divide by 4. Divide by 4. A equals 3. And I was wrong. It looked like a square, but it's not a square. It's actually a rectangle. Right? So basically, 4 times what gives me 12? It cannot be 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So it has to be 3. 4 times 3 gives me 12. That's how you work it backwards. All right, that's the last one for this page. Let's look at number 3. You have a rectangle, a triangle, and a semicircle, right? But you have to find the area of the shaded region. So you have to find the area for the triangle. You have to find the area for the circle, divided by 2 because it's a semicircle, and then take it away so you can take the notch out. So you will have to find how long is from here to here to find the base of the triangle. And you also need to find this length right here. Let's look at number 3, page 4. This is the last one we are doing today. And this is going to be very similar to the one next door, number 1, that you have to do. Number 1, you're going to have to find the area of the shaded region. Let me make this more colorful so that you can read this. This is 50 feet, 45 feet. This is 30 feet. And this is 24 feet. So you're looking for the outside, the gray area. So number 3 says, an elementary school principal plans to buy gravel for the playground. The sandbox and the swing area will not have gravel. So I'm not going to put any gravel in those areas. I'm going to put gravel in everything else. So I'm just going to put gravel everywhere except for the sandbox and the swing area. Those things will not have any gravel. So I'm just going to put gravel right there. So I need to find that, how much gravel I need to use. So, first of all, let's find the area for the whole thing. The whole rectangle. How much area is right there? And then I can just take away those sections, right? That easy. So the area for the rectangle is base times height, which is 60 by 80. 60 times 80 gives me 4,800. So everything, including the swing set area and the sandbox, is 4,800. But I'm not gonna put anything in those 2 spots. So I need to take those away, right? So if I focus on this one right here, this little rectangle, I know it's a rectangle because the sides are different. It's a 6 by 8, right? So I can find that area for that one and take it away. So the area for the small rectangle, base times height, 6 times 8 equals 48. So I'm going to take this away, right? 48. And I also have a circle right here that I got to take away. And it says the number that they gave me apparently is the what? Radius or diameter? Is that the radius or diameter? It's half, right? So it has to be the radius. So the area for the circle is pi times radius squared, but you can write it like this as well. So instead of pi is 3.14, instead of radius is 10, and instead of the other radius is also 10. 10 times 10 is 100, times 3.14, which gives you 314. But I gotta take it away, right? So the whole thing is 4,800, and if I take away the 314, I get 4486. So it has to be less than 4486. So this is not gonna work right there. I still have to take away the 48, right? From here, right here. I'm not gonna put that in there. So I'm gonna take that away, and I get 4438, which is B. The area of gravel is going to be 4438 feet square. Again, if you're not selecting everything, you have to take it away. And to take it away is to subtract. Okay, so you got to be paying attention to those little keywords. This is going to help you a lot with number one next door. I mean, right next door, right there. So you got to find the area for the two rectangles inside. You got to find the area for the whole rectangle and then take them away from the big rectangle. Okay? So I hope that you learned something today. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe. Other than that, that is it for this one, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.